All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tony Gomez Show. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm waiting for Katon De Pena, lead singer of thrash legends HIRAX. Hell yeah. Can't wait. It's going to be a fucking great show. I figure he's going to be jumping in any moment now. Hopefully you don't have any problems with the mic or anything, because lately we've been having a little technical difficulties at the beginning, and God bless Adam Grossman. I appreciate your patience, man. And geez, the guys from Life Cycles too. Thanks for your all your patience and generosity for joining me on the show, man. You guys are awesome. And of course, here in the studio, I just had on Monday, I had the guys from Action Get Action in the house. I had Roger, I had Gerald, and I had Dan in the house. And you know, I didn't know about Gerald being a founding member of Vomit Spots, man. I remember going to see the Vomit Spots. Shit, I want to say over to EJ's at least once or twice, and they always fucking packed the house, man. It was a crazy ass fucking show. Great fucking time. Hey, so what's up? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in for the show. I'm waiting for my man Katon to jump in, and I got some great questions for him. We got another edition of Draw the Line that's going to be hidden tonight. That's going to how we're going to finish off the interview like I normally do, and I got some great bands to have him choose between to see which ones are his favorites. And so like I said, you know, I had Action Get Action in the house on Monday. It was a great interview, great time having those guys here in the studio. We had them in, we were talking for a good 2 hours. So it was a great show. And if you want to, you can check it out on the YouTube channel at Tony Gomez Show, or you can listen to it on Spotify as well. Want to give a shout out to my bro, Mike DeLeon, guitar player for Soulfly, as well as Philip Anselmo and the Illegals, and Flesh fucking Hoarder. Yes, and yes, Flesh Hoarder is coming to Corpus. I think the date is September 12th at the Black Monk fucking Tavern, man. Mike and the guys from Flesh Hoarder are going to be kicking ass, and they got a hell of a fucking lineup, man. Tortured. My boys Tortured are going to be the fucking band, are going to be in the house, and my boys in Womb Rot are going to be on the fucking show, and my bros in Ill Adjusted. Man, it's going to be a great fucking show. I want War Code on there. If you want War Code, that's my band. So anyway, I want to fucking either open or close that motherfucker. I don't care. I want to jam, man, with Mike and the guys in Flesh Hoarder, man. That's going to be kick ass. Let's see what you got in there. Roel and I met you at the flea market at Rock and Roll. Oh, okay. Pleasure. Thanks for tuning in, Debbie. You and Royal, thanks a lot for dropping by the Rock and Roll Flea Market. And for you guys that join us regularly, you know, second Saturday of the month over there at the House of Rock for the Rock and Roll Flea Market, who's put on by Cat House, Ralph Davila. We're not having it this Saturday, but it's getting moved to the 22nd. So we're still going to have it this month. It's just going to be on the 22nd. So drop by the House of Rock on Saturday, the 22nd from 11 to 4 p.m. And we're going to be doing the Rock and Roll Flea Market. Man, I'm looking for my brother and Katon. I'm going to jump over here to Facebook Messenger and see if maybe he messages me to see if I'm missing out on anything. You guys just stay right where you are. Coming right back. Okay, cool. Looks like he's good to go. So I'll probably see him any minute now. There you are, everybody. All right, cool. Okay, so looks like I got the thumbs up from Katon. Right now it's 8 o'clock Central, which should translate to 6 o'clock Mountain Time, California time, because that's where my man Katon is out of. I believe out of Los Angeles. Fuck yeah. So, God willing, he's going to be here in a moment. But like I was saying, Mike DeLeon, man, I've been reaching out to him. I've been talking to Mike. He's about to hit the road with Soulfly. And I think they're doing a show in Cali here in about maybe, I want to say, he said he's got a big show coming up on the 15th. And it's going to be like Bay Area thrash legends are coming together. And he's been chosen to be one of the guitar players. And sounds like it's going to be a fucking badass collaboration of killer fucking musicians coming together, maybe for somebody's birthday, maybe a fundraiser or something. But I think it's happening in the Bay Area somewhere. So I would love to see that shit. And speaking of collaborations, I got to mention, if you have never seen the Roadrunner All-Stars concert, you can look it up on YouTube. It's called the Roadrunner All-Stars concert. You've got to see it. It's hosted by Jamie Josta, and it's got fucking all these kind of fucking heavy hitters from Roadrunner, and they are jumping on stage and they're playing each other's music, and it fucking kicks ass. For most of the setup has Joey Jordison, rest in peace, Joey, from Slipknot on drums. It's got Andreas. Fuck yeah. Andreas from Sepultura on guitar for nearly more than half the show. And of course, Dino Caceres from Fear Factory kicks ass. And then also Adam Dulce from Machine Head covers on bass. Then Paul Gray, the late great Paul Gray, rest in peace, from Slipknot. He also does maybe about 3 or 4 songs, including some Obituary and some fucking Deicide. Oh man, they also have Ray Mayorga sits in for like 3 songs, and Ray Mayorga from Soulfly and also from Stone Sour. Ray's doing all kinds of shit, but anyway, he does a killer fucking set with Annihilator. They do Alice in Wonderland. Then they do what's the other one? King Diamond, Abigail. Fuck yeah, great fucking set. So you got to see that Roadrunner All Stars concert. It's up in, I think they did it in Buffalo, New York, Rochester. I don't know, but I tell you, you got to see that. What a collaboration of artists. You got all the guys from Slipknot joining in, Machine Heads, they're Trivians, they're Killswitch Engage, they're if they're on Roadrunner, they're represented out there. It's a killer fucking concert. So I'm really anxious to talk to my man Katon. I hope he's not having any problems. It looks like we were good to go, and unless Mountain Time is going to be 9 o'clock. Oh, I think that's him right there. Check it out, guys. Let me grab him in there. Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
And we are on. Katon, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Just getting a hold of you before I head to band rehearsal.
Oh, thanks for making some time for me tonight. What a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the man in the house, Katon De Pena, lead singer for the thrash metal legends, HIRAX. Thank you, Katon. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
My pleasure, man. Good to be here.
Oh, dude, I love your work. HIRAX has been kicking ass for years, always out there representing thrash metal proudly and fucking loudly. And love you guys since I first heard Hate, Fear, and Power, that record, and Raging Violence.
Right
and
on.
Then fucking even hitting harder with the New Age of Terror and coming back with the El Rostro de la Muerte. Fucking sick. Loving it, man. It just keeps on raising the bar for you guys. And that's what I love about metal and bands as they kind of progress through the years, that standard never goes down. It just kind of keeps raising up.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I think the fans expect that, and you don't want to let them down. So you're always trying to take it to the next level each record you go.
Yes, I try and see it that way too. I've been singing in bands since like 1990 and loving it. I started the first death metal band back here in Corpus called Malignancy. Did another band called Sintegrity and Killamora. So we had a great run in Corpus, man. And if you guys would have been doing like a Texas run, man, we would have been jamming together. I know that for a fact. Yes.
Well, that's where it should be. I mean, whenever you travel, you want to play with the best bands in those areas. So, I appreciate you saying that, brother.
Hell yes, man. Well, let me start by getting into some questions that I got lined up for you, man. Was there a band or a singer that got you inspired to start doing your own thing and form your own band?
Yeah, I mean, there were quite a few because once I got into music, it was like almost like a drug. I just couldn't get enough of it. But starting out younger, going back to my early teens, I was listening to everything from like rock and roll, like Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yes.
Even country stuff like Hank Williams Sr. and Johnny Cash. But then I got exposed to Jimi Hendrix, and that was kind of like the gateway drug. And then I got into more like going from there to heavier stuff, bands like Black Sabbath and Thin Lizzy, Judas Priest. It just it got heavier as I went just because I couldn't get enough of it. But my earliest like stuff that got me into it would definitely Hendrix would be one of them. Thin Lizzy. There was also a band from the United States called Montrose, which that was Sammy Hagar's first.
With Hagar.
Yeah. And so a lot of the earlier stuff, but that, like I said, that was pretty much the gateway for me because that was hard rock. And from hard rock, I just wanted heavier music.
Man, it's like a drug, I tell you. I started out with like Buddy Holly. You know,
Yeah.
that was the 8-track that my aunt had that was around, and I just started feeding into that rock. And then next thing you know, it was Unleashed in the East, and then she brought some ELO and she brought some Styx, The Grand
Yeah.
Illusion, and
Yeah.
before you know it, Kiss Love Gun shows up. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
That, you remember the Love Gun that came out with the fold out with that gun?
Yeah. Totally.
Remember
The
that?
bang gun, the Kiss bang
Yeah,
gun.
that
Yeah.
was awesome, man.
I was the same way. For me, it was like, I couldn't get enough of it. So I just, anything I could get my hands on, Ted Nugent, Double Live Gonzo, Black Sabbath, any of those early Sabbath records I had to have. So
Yeah.
then it just kind of influenced me to want to start playing, especially, once I realized I could do it. And then I just found other like-minded people that were in the area that liked the same kind of music, and we started playing in bands.
Yeah, man. Did you come up with the name HIRAX?
Yeah, we were basically trying to think of names. It was one of those band situations where you're starting out and you're trying to come up with something that you think is catchy. We had all these different names, and we took a break actually at this band practice. And I actually went to the bathroom, and when I came back from the bathroom, I was like, "What?" Because I saw this wallpaper in the bathroom, and it said HIRAX on it, and it was basically two things. It was a bug repellent for killing mosquitoes, and I thought that sounds pretty metal to me. And then
Uh-huh.
it was also an animal. Like if you look these two things up, one of the words for this animal is
Like a
there's a
little mammal.
yeah, it's like a crazy looking. It's like in between like a rabbit and like a jackalope. I don't know, but it's an animal also. But the crazy thing about that animal is it's related to an elephant, and you would never know it by looking at it.
Yeah.
There's always something interesting when you start throwing around names. And then, like I said, I love that it was a bug repellent for killing mosquitoes. So HIRAX, when I told the other guys the name, they loved it, and it was also short. We liked that it was kind of a short name, and
Yes.
we've been using it ever since 1984.
Tight, very tight. Who did the logo, the stylage? Because you
Oh,
kind of kept that same logo for.
that's a great story. At first, I did the original logo, and it was just basic, like just scribbling on your folder at school.
Yeah.
And when there used to be back in the 80s, there was tape trading. A lot of kids nowadays don't know about cassette tape trading, but we did a lot of that in the early 80s. And I was trading with this guy named Tom G. Warrior from Hellhammer, Celtic Frost.
Yeah.
And we both were trading. Like he sent me some Hellhammer cassettes, and I sent him some HIRAX cassettes. And when he got the HIRAX cassette, he didn't like the logo, and he's like, "Hey, can I design a logo and see what you think?" And I was like, "Sure." But this was like where it would take 2 weeks, where you would send a snail mail letter.
Yeah.
I don't even know if kids know what letters are anymore, but we used to send these things called paper letters in the mail.
Right.
And 2 weeks later, Tom G. Warrior sent me the HIRAX logo, and I loved it so much, we've been using it ever since.
That is a kick-ass story. Hell yeah. Tom G. Warrior, Celtic Frost.
Yeah.
Yes. Love that. Damn, that is too cool, dude. I mean, but that shows the metal brotherhood right there. It's, it's like, hey, he felt comfortable enough because, us metalheads, all it really takes is maybe a t-shirt. And if I see hey, I'm down, dude. That dude must be, we're down, and the camaraderie is like, hey, can I do something like that? Would you mind? And you being open-minded, sure, go for it. And it ends up being something that's fucking a classic.
Totally cool, and you're totally right about that. Like, there's a camaraderie with all of us. I think it's just that we know that like we're an elite group of people that are dedicated to the music. So if you're like even in a grocery store and you're walking around and you see somebody else wearing a metal shirt, you usually do the "What's up?"
Yes.
What's up? But the cool thing about the logo too is when people really find out the story about the Celtic Frost HIRAX thing. If you look at the logos, like you look at the original Celtic Frost logo and you look at the HIRAX logo, there's similarities there. You just have to look and you go, "Holy shit!" Because he actually designed both logos at the same time. So there's definitely some resemblance to both logos.
That's right. I'm gonna take a closer look at that later, dude. That's gonna be tight. Hell yeah. Well, do you write all the lyrics for the band?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in that. Like, I mean, everybody has their job. I think, not all singers have to do it, but for me, I feel compelled. And it's also, for me, I actually remember them better. Like, I remember my own lyrics better than any bands that I love. Like, I know my lyrics because I wrote them. So that's one of the things that makes it easier for me as a singer. When I write stuff that I've written, doing them live and remembering them is a lot easier. And I, to this day, a lot of the songs I remember exactly why I wrote them, what what year it was. That's why I have a pretty damn good memory. I mean, as a kid, for some reason, music albums like side A, side B, side one, side two, I've always been really good at remembering like certain tracks on side two, like even in trivia, like hanging out with other heavy metal fans, if we talk about metal,
Uh-huh.
usually, what side is this song on? And I normally I can feel it. So, it's just like I remember one time a guy asked me about AC/DC, and there's a record called Highway to Hell. And on that record, at the end of it, there's a part where Bon Scott says Shazbot Nanu Nanu. And a lot of people don't remember that. But if you listen to the end of that AC/DC record, you'll hear Bon Scott say that.
What's the last song?
I think it might be. You never know. My memory might be slipping, but I think it might be Night Prowler.
It might be Night Prowler. I think you're right, dude. And I have heard that shit.
Yeah,
I have heard that before.
Yeah,
yes, man.
It's from an old TV show with Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy, yeah, man, where they do that shit, right?
Nanu Nanu.
Right? Nanu Nanu, yes.
And I guess Bon Scott was a huge fan of the show, so at the end of the record, Highway to Hell, he says it.
It gives it some love, man. Hell yeah. Well, I actually sing for an AC/DC tribute band here in town. And I haven't got Night Prowler on the list yet, but it's on that long fucking list of hits that these guys got.
Yeah, they're records, man. If you anything with Bon Scott, there's pretty much all the records are pretty much hits all the way through. Well, even the deep cuts, like if you look at a song like "Beating Around the Bush," that's a deep cut, but it kicks ass.
Yes, fuck yeah. We're doing like Girls Got Rhythm and Touch Too Much.
Touch Too Much is amazing, but don't get me started. I could talk Bon Scott all day. This
I'm sure, man. Well, how about the music for HIRAX? Who's writing the music?
Well, over the years, I've written with a lot of different guys. There's been lineup changes because it's, when you play in an underground metal band, as you know, you're not rich. And, usually, and I hate to admit it, but it's true, money keeps a lot of things together. And sometimes musicians have to move on to other jobs, or they got to work a regular job to keep their house, to keep their apartment, wherever they're living. So it's been changes over the years. But, for me, it's just I try to work with guys that like are into the same kind of music. So like I said, each record, there's normally been different writers with me, but I've always been in charge of the lyrics and a lot of the arrangements. And even a lot of singers can relate to this. I'll even sometimes hum riffs to them, and then they'll make riffs from some of the stuff that I hum to them. It's just, it's funny because as musicians, a lot of vocalists don't get credit for a lot of those things, but a lot of that is coming from the vocalist. Over the years, a lot of the records that we've done, a lot of those riffs I've either hummed or, gone over with the musicians because you got to be able to sing to them too,
Yes. That's right. You hear those riffs in your head, and it's like, hey, it goes like that.
And arrangements too, because arrangements like from choruses to verses and verses to choruses and all that kind of stuff, and bridges and intros. But I'm not taking any credit away from the other songwriters. I'm just saying that a lot of times singers don't get credited for a lot of those kinds of things.
I know what you mean. Do you play any instruments?
Nah, man, I've always been a singer. I started out trying to play guitar, but I didn't have the patience for it. That's why I have a lot more respect for guitar players, because you really do got to have patience.
I know what you mean, dude. Yeah, I tried to pick up the bass during COVID, and I learned a few riffs, man. But I formed a new band right after that called War Cult. Yeah, and we needed a bass player so bad, and the guitar player and the drummer were like, dude, you got a bass. Start fucking be Tom Mariah. We need you to be Tom Mariah. And I'm like, dude, I want to be running. I'm one of those weird, energetic kind of guys like you that is out there, and I wear the fucking leather wristbands and shit.
Yeah, you want to be
the war vest and everything, bro.
You want to be up in your face.
Exactly, and I can't do that in jamming with the integrity that the band needs.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
We just gotta wait till the right guy comes, and the right guy has come. And sometimes it's just one of those things where you know how it is that when you want to jam with somebody, you work with their schedule.
Yeah,
you do whatever it takes.
Totally. And it's all good. I mean, you just got to find what you're strong at, whatever you're strong at. I say that's what you should do. Like if you need a bass player, get a bass player. If you need a guitar player, get a guitar player, but you got to do what's most important for the band. The egos should actually be outside the door, because the thing is a band. And sometimes you do got to make changes though, because not, it's like a family. Not everybody always gets along, and sometimes certain personalities don't, gel. But you'll figure that out as you go. I mean, for me, the bottom line is being able to get out there, tour, play, take the records out and play them on the road for the fans.
Yes, hell yeah, and that's where the real live experience is. I know that. I see the excitement and the ferocity in your live shows and the pics that I'm able to see, and yeah, that's where you come alive, man. I know
Yeah,
it.
it's important, and I still just love doing it. I mean, I've been doing it with HIRAX now for over 40 years, and I still love doing it.
Fuck yes. Do you have any vocal exercises or warm ups that you do before you hit the stage?
That's where I'm horrible. I need to work on that. My wife is always telling me to do vocal exercises before we go. I've always been a little shy of that because also, as you know, you're usually backstage and there's a bunch of people or there's, close.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even seen Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, he'll like go out to an outhouse or about, one of them porta potties to warm up his vocals. I should do that. I'll be real with you. I think that all singers, if they're smart or they have a place, or maybe even go into your car, if you can warm up, warm up. But I'm horrible at it. I'm warm by the third or fourth song into the set, but I normally don't do warm ups, which I'm totally guilty. I should be doing it, but I just don't.
Hey,
But I do think the main thing for me is I like to rest like before the show. I don't do a lot of, running around partying and all that stuff. Not that I'm against it. I think if you can handle it, if you can smoke weed or drink booze, whatever the hell you do, good on you. But I just can't do it. So I try to rest, drink a lot of water. I try not to talk too much before the show. With us, it's kind of hard though, because we get a lot of fans that want to talk. And I get that. But I'm trying to save a lot of it for the stage. After the show, totally different. I'm up for talking all night long until they kick us out of the nightclub or the venue wherever we're playing at. But before the show, it's just real taxing on most singers if you've got to do a lot of talking before you play.
absolutely, man. I know where you're coming from. Yeah, and usually that's one of the best. What I usually do is I just go to the restroom, if anything, and I'll try and sing like the first two verses, couple of choruses to get where I need to be. But realistically, not until about the third song am I warmed up too. It's just one of those things.
I get it. It's funny. Some guys are better at it. I'll tell you a funny ass story. This is fucking great. I think I've rarely told this, but maybe once or twice. But we were playing it was HIRAX and Testament. We were playing a show in the Bay Area up in San Francisco, and me and Chuck Billy were in the same room getting ready to play. And I remember Chuck was warming up, and I just felt kind of uncomfortable about it. I love it. He's a great guy, amazing dude, but I just didn't feel comfortable enough for me to do warm ups. But he was warming up, so I give him so much credit because it's almost like you just gotta be where you don't give a shit. Like you gotta warm up if that's what you do as a singer. But he was warming up, and I was just sitting there just all quiet because I didn't know what to do. It was kind of a funny ass situation, but later on when I thought about it, I go, that dude's badass that he can warm up like that. He doesn't give a shit who's around. I mean, I think everybody's personalities are different, but that's why I have to give Chuck so much credit. He was just warming up, doing these like little growls and stuff, and I was just like, wow, I should do that, but I just don't for some reason.
We just, sometimes we just got bad habits, man. And even though we know better, it's like wearing earplugs. I still don't fucking wear earplugs.
Yeah, I don't wear them either. I get it. We should, but for me, the music, I can't hear it so well, and I love to really hear it. So when it's kind of muted by the earplugs, it bothers the shit out of me. I tried for years to wear them. I just can't.
I get it, man.
And it sucks because it might be later on where I'm like, my hearing stop. But I still much rather hear the music purely. Like I want to hear it coming through. And the no matter what earplugs you get, it does mute it down a bit. You miss a lot of the highs and stuff like that.
Right, and I need that treble. I need those highs, that guitar. I need that riffage like that.
I hear you. It's just like when you can hear good monitors on the stage. That's amazing. But when they're like with us, normally the monitors are covered up by people's bodies. Either laying or stage diving. So it is what it is. But we always just try to go with the flow, whatever circumstances we deal with. We just deal with it and we play the shows.
Fuck yeah, that's how the champs do it. You just persevere. The show always goes on.
Yeah, no matter what, even if we can't hear shit or the sound's not good on the stage, we just try to remember the fans don't know all that. They're there for a show.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And you mentioned Chuck, man, and I know I was it Thrash or Be Thrash that you came out in and did some documentary?
That was Get Thrashed, and I think
Get Thrashed.
It's funny, since that movie, there's been so many more. Like, people tell me we come up in all these movies that I haven't even seen. I guess there's one called Murder in the Front Row.
Yes, that one too.
But Get Thrashed, that was one of the first big ones. And from that movie, now there's a lot more documentaries on thrash metal and heavy metal and stuff, which is great. I mean, I think it's really cool. I would have never thought there would be movies. If somebody would have really asked me,
right?
I said, you're crazy. But, I guess it's 40 years later and now the music's a part of history.
Yes, definitely a big part of American culture here. Yeah. Hell yeah. And, thinking about Chuck, did he roll with like a clique back in the day, like the Dublin Destroyers, or was there a name of a gang that he used to run around with at the shows and they used to fuck people up at the pits?
Not really. I mean, what's funny, a lot of people don't know, this will help you out with that was another band that he had. It was kind of like an all-star band with a bunch of the guys from the Bay Area called the Dublin Death Patrol or something like that.
That's what it is. You're right.
It's just a band of it's kind of like a superstar Bay Area band with a bunch of different musicians jamming together. But now, Chuck, I'll tell you, personally, he's one of the sweetest, nicest, humble guys you'll ever meet. I mean, I'm sure he looks to some people, he's so big, they're probably kind of intimidated, but he's one of the nicest humans on the planet. Me and my wife, he invited us to his house and we had a lovely time there. I mean, the guy is just really cool. Basically would give the shirt off his back to you. He's just a good dude. So nothing but positive stuff to say about him. The only thing I can say is I was a little embarrassed to warm up by him, but besides that, he's an amazing dude.
Hey, I would be definitely intimidated to warm up against Chuck Billy. Holy shit, dude!
It was pretty
hell
fun.
Yeah. Oh man, but anyway, I got a little connection to Chuck. Chuck was a manager with John and Marsha for a little while, and he managed a band here out of Alice called Shattered Sun. Okay. So I got a chance to meet Chuck, man, and take a picture with him. And like you said, super cool guy, and really did my friends in Shattered Sun fucking really did great things for him. Got him on the road with Testament and Exodus right at the get-go. Fucking Mayhem Fest. So, another great ambassador of metal out there.
Yeah, he's
like yourself.
Nothing but the coolest, man. He's a good dude. So
hell yeah. Let me ask you this. What was your first gig and who was it with?
First big 2 gigs. We did 2, and that's kind of like after we did those gigs, it was insane. But we started out like most bands. We rehearsed in garages, and to this day, here and there, we still rehearse in garages. No shame in the game. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I think it actually builds integrity. Like, you practice in a garage, that's real shit. You
sweat it out.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for us, we've been able to do everything. We, from really nice rehearsal studios, like where we're practicing tonight, it's a badass studio. We're fortunate because us and Fear Factory, we practice in the same studio. So
Dino,
it's pretty nice. And Dino's the most solid dude on the planet. Great guy, But so like I said, there's no shame in the game, coming up out of the garages. So we just basically, I'm trying to reformat this question. Say it one more time about the
Well, you said you had a couple of them. Your first gig, and who was it with?
Oh yeah, okay. Now I'm back on track. This going on about because like I said, you start out very humble coming out of the garage. But what happened was 2 things. We had a record store that we used to all shop at and buy like Diamond Head records and Motorhead records and you name it, the British new wave of heavy metal, Iron Maiden, all that stuff. We would be going to the store and there was a clerk that worked there and he said, "Hey, listen, there's a show coming through town with Megadeth and Exciter. Do you guys want to be on it?" And we were like, "Sure," And that was the first one that was big that we did in LA. and it was insane. It was sold out. There's over 1,000 kids there. The
Yeah.
place was so packed, the walls were sweating. It was back in those
Yes.
days. It was pretty normal to go into a club and see that the walls would be sweating because it'd be packed full of kids, a lot of energy. And that show was one of those shows that helped blow us up. And then we actually got added to the second night where we went down to San Diego, and it was the same thing. We got there early. There were kids everywhere, all over the parking lot. They came running up to the tour bus. It was nuts. And so that was a really good start. And we played with bands that we loved. I mean, obviously, we loved Exciter and Megadeth were friends of ours. And we're actually still friends to this day. Dave Mustaine, you're going to hear a lot of different stuff about him, but the dude's one of the coolest dudes I've ever known. He's always been totally cool to HIRAX. In fact, Megadeth helped us out when a lot of bands wouldn't. So that's another band I got to give the horns up to, Megadeth. But the other show that happened was we got invited up north, and this was the first time we went up north. So we got a show up this place called Monterey, California. We've been to Monterey, Mexico as well, but
Okay.
we went to Monterey, California, and it was HIRAX, Slayer, and Death Angel. And
Yes.
that was another one of those shows that was just insane. And those shows pretty much opened up the gates for us because after that, we just got bigger shows, and we ended up playing with Venom and just so many other great bands over the years. I mean, to this day, we're very fortunate that we continue to play with a lot of great bands.
What an honor, what a blessing, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just you get kind of that nudge when you get the right shows, and then people see you, and it just like after even the one that we did in Monterey, then we got invited to Berkeley, California, and we played with Megadeth, Exodus, and Testament. So I mean, just the show started getting bigger and better, and started releasing records, and it's kind of like the beast that you've got to do all these things. You've got to record records, you got to go out there and support those records, and you got to get on the road, even though it's not easy. A lot of those road trips are long, man. They're like 6 to 8 hours minimum of just driving.
Yeah. Damn, I know. It's brutal. You gotta love it. You gotta love it because
you gotta love it like nothing else, man. That's
definitely, because it's not for the money. It's got to be for the love of the metal, man. And
totally.
it's that drug that you can't live without. That's why we're still doing it. Hell, I'll be 54 this year, and I don't see myself ever stopping anytime soon. Just like you inspire me to keep fucking rocking and screaming my ass off and having a great time doing what I've always just wanted to do, man. Just ever since I saw Kiss. I saw him in '79. When's the first time you saw Kiss?
What's funny, I'm always honest about these questions. I never saw them, even though they're one of my all-time favorite bands, as you can probably tell from behind me.
Yes, yeah.
The thing is, I'm kind of one of those really hardcore weirdo dudes. If I don't see a band in their prime, I usually end up not going to see them. Like I would have wanted to see them right around that time, or maybe in between 74 to 78, 79 would have been amazing,
Yes, 74, 78, yes.
But what's funny? Like, I think we all had bands we missed that we should have seen, because then I got lucky. Like 1978, I saw Van Halen open for Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think that, every person has regrets. Like, I missed UFO with Michael Schenker. I should have seen that. Yes. Instead, I went to a Kager party like a maniac, But I mean, I think we all like have those, but we also have bands that we saw where you're like, dude, I got so lucky that I mean, to see Sabbath at the end of the real end, when they ended in 78, and having a young band like Van Halen supporting was pretty insane.
Fuck yes. What was the first concert you went to?
The first major one was that one. It was Van Halen's record. I think it just come out. It was like the first album had just come out, and they were supporting Sabbath. So that was killer. But after that, I saw many more shows. I mean, I saw UFO a little bit later, right after Schenker left, which I would have loved to see him with Schenker, but they were still very good because they had Pete Way still in the band and Andy Parker on drums. But at that show, I also saw Blue Oyster Cult. I saw early Cheap Trick when they were really good. A lot of the kids don't know, but Cheap Trick used to be, I mean, they're still a great rock and roll band, but they used to be really good in the 70s.
Yeah.
I saw a guy named Pat Travers, and that was a pretty big influence on me too, because they had a drummer back then named Tommy Aldridge.
Tommy.
So to see those artists back then, it was just really inspiring. That's a lot of the stuff that got me off my ass to want to start playing,
Yeah. Did you ever meet the metal god, Rob Halford?
Yeah, actually, I have. We played with them too, which is amazing. Whenever you play those bigger festivals in Europe, you end up playing with people like Priest. You know, we played with Dio. A lot of, I mean, the list is insane. Like, even we're going back this year in August, we go back to tour Europe, and we're going to be playing a lot of big festivals. But Rob Halford, I actually met him not at a show. I met him at a signing because he was in my hometown of Long Beach, California, and he was doing a signing at a friend of mine's record store. So we went down, and we were just hanging out. But what happened is it was so packed that he tried to go out the back of the record store that he was doing the signing at. And a friend of mine came around and told us, because we were actually drinking Coronas, we were drinking beer, and they said, "Hey, he's bailing because it's just too many people, and he's not going to come out the front of the venue." So he went out the back, and we were actually waiting in the back in the alley. This is so metal, and he was backing up he had a black Cadillac. It was amazing, like an old '70s Cadillac, totally nice, that was all dialed in. And he was actually driving himself. And so he saw me, and I was dressed pretty metal because it was going to see the metal god, you know?
Yeah.
And he stopped his Cadillac, and I said, "I just wanted to say hi." And he reached out the window, and he said, That's awesome. He actually looked at me because I was dressed up, and I had my aviators on and everything. And he reached out the window and shook my hand.
Very cool. Hell yeah. I haven't had the pleasure yet, man. But
no, he's really nice. I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have had more time to chat with him, but he was actually leaving. But I thought it was cool that he even stopped because he didn't have to. But I think he knew I was a metal dude, and he stopped. He said hello, and he shook my hand, and that was good enough for me.
Absolutely. Hey, we know how it is, and I've seen many guys. I've been blessed to meet like Hetfield, and I met Mustaine as well, and Hammett. And just to spend a little time with their greatness is and them being so cool and not having them be pricks is the best part about it.
Yeah, it's always cool when you meet somebody that you respect and they're cool, because I mean they don't really have a lot of time. I mean, you gotta remember, like, it's great that we get to meet them, and even if you get to talk to them, but dude, there's a lot of people that want to meet them, so it's kind of cool when if they even have a few minutes or a few moments to say hi. That's cool.
And that's, I got to stop real quick and give you big props, man, because you make time for your fans, man. You really do. And thank you so much, because we appreciate it. We love your history. We love the commitment and the heart and soul that you've given the metal history. And, I myself, this isn't a way of life. I mean, this isn't a lifestyle. This is who I am. And it's who you are. It's who all of our bandmates are. And, it really is in our blood.
Tony, I agree with you 100%. You got to love this shit. I've been into it for so long. It's just normal everyday activity. You know what I mean? Like, you got to check what you're doing musically. And also, even when we're not doing our own music stuff, we usually have music that's on in the car where we're going somewhere. You got to have your tunes, so it's something that we really love. But for me, it's also an honor, and I really do mean that. For me, meeting people like you and all the people that even know about my music is just it's always a blast. And it's something that I grew up on. Like, I've been doing this even before HIRAX, and now it's probably somewhere around 50 years, close to that. And I still get a thrill out of it. Like, even tonight, I'm looking forward to going to band practice, and we're just going to go in there and bang out the set. But we leave early August. The first show we start in Germany, and so the tour starts there. So we're basically rehearsing now for the European tour.
And you're going to be gone like maybe a couple of weeks in Europe?
Yeah, about 3 weeks. And it's going to be cool because we're doing, like, when you do these tours, especially summertime, it's great to be able to mix the festivals in with also headlining club shows, which is great because that means we get to go to some areas that we don't always go to. So it's really cool to get to the clubs. Like, the first show we're playing in Dortmund, Germany, and it's us and Exodus. So that's like a perfect way to start the tour.
Fuck yes, man. I thought I saw some other stops. You're gonna be doing the Brutal Assault Festival in Girona. You got the Alcatraz Fest coming up in Belgium.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, I think you finish off in France.
Yeah, France is awesome. I mean, I love Europe in general, and everywhere we've gone, whether it's South America, Central America, even playing here in the U.S. and other places. Uh, One of my favorites is France. So to end there, and we're flying out from Paris, so that'll be nice. And but yeah, I mean, we're doing Vakken for the first time, and they've actually asked us to do Vakken like 3 years in a row, but we just finally are getting around to doing that. We're so looking forward to doing a lot of these festivals. Like over there, they do them great. Like even the one that we're doing at Brutal Assault, that's in a big, like it used to be like where wars were fought. So
Fuck.
you're basically playing. It's a fortress. So to be a metal band and playing a fortress where battles were fought is just amazing.
It doesn't get more metal than that.
Yeah.
Shit. That's
Yes.
awesome.
But yeah, looking forward to the tour.
Oh man. Well, let me. You also got the 7-inch EP that's getting ready to come out. You got a vinyl coming out. I think it's Dementia Records is putting it out for you, right?
You nailed that, man. Yeah.
Kick ass.
Yeah,
Well,
Dementia.
tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's a record label from the Czech Republic. We always choose to work with people that understand our music and understand our fan base. I mean, it's great. You'll see bands, and we've been on major labels before, but the thing is, a lot of the times they don't understand the fan base. They don't understand the underground where we came from, and we try to never forget that. Don't get me wrong, we definitely want to continue to get bigger because that helps you stay alive. It helps you be able to tour and travel. I mean, you do got to pay some bills, but like you said, we're not in it just for the money. That's not what it's about at all. We're in it for the music. So this label understands that, and we could have done it with a bunch of different labels, but these guys are really like us. They're not just music people, they're fans of music. And so they're doing it really cool. It's a gatefold 7-inch record, high gloss, all color vinyl. They're only doing 500 because it's just for the tour. And we wanted to have something out. The record's pretty much done, but the full length record wouldn't have been ready for Europe yet. So because it's being final, the final mix is being done right now in Florida, and we're gonna announce who the producer is because we had a switch of producers because what happened was the first producer who we love, he's like a family member. His name's Bill Matoyer, and he's worked with Slayer and Sarith Uncle.
Legend. Yeah.
Armored Saint, Sacred Right.
Yes.
He's worked with a ton of bands, but he did the first mix. So this EP is basically the first mix that Matoyer did, 4 tracks. I think people are really gonna like it. It's color vinyl, red and yellow. The artwork was done by our artist who's out of Brazil, Thomas Pinheiro. So we're really fortunate to have this EP in time for the tour. I think the fans are going to be so happy with it. And what's great too is it's limited, so it's kind of like an old throwback to the old days where if you get it, you got this record and hold on to it. But then after we get back from the tour, the full length of the album, which is called Faster Than Death, that will be released with the final mix. And the producer that we have, even though I can't say it right this moment, the good thing about it, everybody that gets this record will be happy to know they already own some of his records because he's done some major stuff. We really got a great producer who came on board to do the new HIRAX record. I wish I could tell you now, but I'll tell you this: when we're able to release it, I'll let you know first. You'll be one of the first to know who the producer is. But like I said, even you and I, we all have some of his records in our record collection. So he's been around. He's done some great records that I still listen to this day. So we were just like happy to bring him on board. But so that'll be a little bit later. But the EP will be out August 1st in Europe, and then we go across Europe, and then we come back to the States, and that's when the new record should be out officially. And we're going to do a couple of shows with Sodom. We're doing New York with Sodom, and we're doing San Francisco with Sodom. So that should be pretty cool.
That's going to be huge. Hell yeah. Sodom shows, you guys would be, that's a badass package. Everybody's going to be going out there raising hell.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Well, I was doing some research because I was looking for some merch. I saw you got some badass patches for Faster Than Death. You got the album, you got the different album covers. And real quick, what I'm talking about, the way I got to it was off of Facebook, and it was HIRAX.bigcartel.com.
Yeah, that's it.
T-shirts, vinyls, CDs,
Yeah,
patches,
we actually
all kinds
found
of
that.
good stuff.
Yeah, we found that company by just kind of researching, and we wanted to make sure we could still control the pricing so it wouldn't be too crazy. I mean, obviously,
Sure.
especially in the last 4 years after the pandemic, the pricing and even just shipping stuff, like shipping merchandise, has gone up a lot. But we still try to always think about the fans and make sure that the pricing's not too insane. So that when we found Big Cartel, we're like, this is cool. And so we've been doing that for quite a while. So basically, if people are looking for official HIRAX merchandise, they can go to Big Cartel, or they can also go to Bandcamp, which is another good one. So we use those, and we just want to give people high quality stuff. And we still work with a lot of great manufacturers that are total grassroots, whether it's in the United States. Like the most recent, we just got Raging Violence flags and banners. I guess
Yeah.
that's the same thing. A banner and a flag is the same, but we just got Raging Violence banners, and they were made in Los Angeles. But a lot of people also don't realize, and we're proud of this, a lot of our stuff's also made in Mexico, because we have a lot of great friends there, and we've toured Mexico quite a few times. It's like our second home. We love it down there. So we have merchandise made there. We have merchandise made in the US too. So it's the best of both worlds. For us, the bottom line is high quality.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear, because I love to support my bands. I love to buy their merch. I like to wear the clothes.
Yeah.
Just shirts, from shorts is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you got fucking over thousands of T-shirts, right?
It's pretty insane.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
I don't know the exact count, but my wife always gives me shit about it because it is pretty ridiculous. But once you're a metal fan, it's kind of hard to pick up your favorite band's shirts and wear them proudly.
Every tour, every time you see them, you're like, man, I want to get the tour shirt. You
Totally.
can't help it. It just happens. Shit.
It's the truth, man. Can't help that.
You got a lot of collectibles in there. I know you got some badass souvenirs. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I love the stuff. I mean, now I'm a little bit more picky, just because after you start really packing up your house with stuff, as I can see with you, you're the same. You really, and also for me, I really love, badass shit. So I always just try to find something that I really know I'm gonna like, because I feel like you don't want to bring something home that you're just gonna want to get rid of. So it's like now, especially because we get to travel a lot. Like a lot of the stuff I have in my house, I bought in South America, whether it be like Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, Colombia, Ecuador. Brazil too. Like we've been all over the place. So like I'll usually bring back stuff from each country, but after a while you start going, man, I've got so much stuff, I got to watch it. But I still love it. I'm not just a musician, I'm a fan of it. So I like to, when I see a band that I love, I got to pick up something.
I'm glad you answered the question for me. When we're talking about merch, you mentioned that you got the Raging Violence banners.
Yeah,
I seen that either on your page or on the HIRAX page. Yeah, I'm gonna give me one of those. Those are badass.
Yeah, they just came in the day, and I was so happy because next year is the 40th anniversary. 2025 is the 40th year of Raging Violence. So to have all this stuff, which I never, dude, somebody, like I said, if somebody would have told me these records would even still be in print 40 years later, I'd have said you're on crack, because
right.
People were, when we first started out, a lot of people thought thrash metal was just crazy. They didn't understand it. So for it to be around 40 years later, and for the first album to still be pressed, and the second record, Hate, Fear, and Power, both are still pressed to this day. So it's pretty awesome for me. I'm very proud of it.
It says a lot about the quality of the band and the music that you guys put out in that period. It stood the test of time.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about heavy metal fans too. They're loyal. That's what's really great. Even when we go back to Europe, I always notice that, man, these fans are so loyal. I mean, I'll tell you a pretty awesome story. We were in Spain. Well, it's happened to us in a few places, Germany as well. But we were in Spain one year, and this guy came up, and he was wearing a denim vest with all the patches on it. And he said, I'm wearing my brother's vest. And I said, that's awesome. I go, he goes, but I got to tell you more. He goes, my brother, the last time HIRAX toured in Spain, he went to the show, and on the way home, he died.
Oh no.
I was like, what?
Oh,
He said he got in a car accident and died, but he goes, I got his vest. Some of the stuff I got was his vest, and he goes, I'm here to represent my brother. So he came to our show to represent his brother, and man, I almost started crying right there on the spot
for
because
real.
that's so heavy, And it's we had that happen even in Germany. Another time, a guy came and he had a vest on, but he also said that they buried his brother with our records. So,
Wow.
so these kinds of
Oh
things,
man.
these are the things that make us, inspire us, and keep pushing us to keep doing this. Like all these years that people have made us a part of their family.
Yes, I love that. Exactly. It is a metal family. Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. So tell me, give me three bands that you listen to today, modern bands.
Oh wow, jeez. Okay, and then after that, I'm gonna give you three old school ones that I listen to
Yes.
too. But
Good.
off the top of my head, I mean, what's funny, like I get turned on to music all the time from traveling.
Yeah.
And so some of the bands may not be super new because I just found out about them. Like I was in Argentina and there
Okay.
was this band called Malone. And nothing like there's an artist named Post Malone, but they're nothing like that. All right.
Okay.
They're called Malone and
All
they're
right.
from Argentina. And anybody who's either watching this interview or listening to this interview, I highly suggest them. They're fucking great. So after I got hip to Malone, I had to collect some of their stuff. I mean, I got their records. I've even ordered them because they're not easy to get in the United States. They're like basically they're the Pantera slash Metallica of Argentina. Like they're
Wow. Kick
kind of,
ass.
and they're great. Their singer's got a great personality. You can look them up. Like if you go
I
online,
will.
but yeah, check out Malone. So that's one of my bands that I really dig. But they're not really super new. They've probably been around 20 something years. But I'm just saying, like I guess it's never too old to get turned on to a new band to because for me they're newer. And then we got
Yes.
lucky. We've actually played with them. Like when we went down to Peru, we did a show with them in Peru. It was great. So it's nice when you like a band and then you end up playing with them. And
Fuck
then
yeah, that's awesome.
there's another band that actually just did a U.S. tour. They're from Colombia. I'm mentioning some of the bands from South America, but they're called Massacre, and they're from Colombia. They're a death metal band. They're really
Yeah.
good. There's another band from Colombia called Witch Trap, and they're another great band. So those are a couple of bands from Colombia besides Argentina, which is Malone. And then there's a band from Brazil called Violator, and I like them a lot. They're a younger band. They're not super young by now because it's probably been 10 years now since I met them in Japan. We did a tour of Japan and they opened for us and they were great. So yeah, bands like that. I always try to kind of pay it forward too. Like if we play with a band
Yeah.
that's great, or also since like a band like Violator, they're from Brazil, so not a lot of people in the United States are going to know who they are. But I feel like it's kind of my job to turn people on to some of these bands.
Hell yes. And thank you for that. So Malone, right?
Yep, Malone.
And Witch Trap
Yep,
and Mufasa.
it's close. It's with an M. It's Massacre. Massacre. But I
Okay.
guess some people might say massacre or
Massacre.
massacre, but it's Massacre.
Okay.
And
Yes.
then I think, oh yeah, Violator.
And the Violator. That's right.
So those are some of the bands. And then like old school, I'm still listening to shit like AC/DC, Power Age, Let There Be Rock. Let There Be Rock is one of my all-time favorite AC/DC records. That record just got a lot of kick ass. I mean, Bad Boy Boogie, you can't beat that track.
Yes.
Thin Lizzy, I listen to a lot of Thin Lizzy. I think Phil Knott's just an incredible songwriter. Like, every band has a different thing. AC/DC is one of those bands that just rock the shit out of you. Thin Lizzy's another one of those bands that actually they somehow not just rock you, but the songwriting. And I think there's a little bit more romanticness in the way. If you listen to Thin Lizzy, there's a little bit more romantic stuff in their tunes. But such a great band, such a great songwriting band. And then who else? I think lately I've been listening to a little bit of Iron Maiden live, Made in Japan. The live
shit.
record.
Yeah, with Paul.
But I kind of rotate through a lot of the old school shit. I'm still listening to Sabbath with Dio, a lot of the Dio records, Dehumanizer. I put Mob Rules back on it. I forgot how great that record is, but Mob Rules is an excellent record, you know. So
Yeah.
there's a song on there called "The Sign of the Southern Cross" that I love.
Dio fucking sounds so great when he sings that chorus, right? Oh man.
Yeah. You kind of forget, but if you put those two, I mean, there's three actually, but if you put, besides Dehumanizer, if you put on Heaven and Hell and you listen to back with Mob Rules, it's an amazing joyride. It's pretty killer.
Yes, I'm gonna try those combos right there. Hell yeah.
Check them out.
Love all those bands right there. Love me some Thin Lizzy. Love it all, man. Hell yeah. So, thinking about your history and thinking about a band that was back in the day, and seeing some pictures that came out like in Murder in the Front Row. I got that. I got the book, and you know Cliff.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to see the Spastic Children jam?
I never got to see them. I mean, obviously I knew about them and I saw the photos. They were funny as hell from what I remember. But I did hang out with Cliff a few times, and you talk about an amazing dude. Like, there's a reason he's a legend. There's a reason people still talk about him. He was a great guy. Like, that dude was the real fucking deal. Like, there's a lot of musicians out there, but he's in the top, like the top list. I mean, there's tons. I put him in the top 10 especially for thrash metal.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Paul Bailoff, the old singer for Exodus, he was amazing. But Cliff was definitely his own person, and he had his own spirit. I mean, he didn't even really need to talk too much because he was just so fucking cool.
Good times, man. Rest in peace, Cliff.
We
God
got
bless.
to talk about music, so it was like really cool to sit down with him and talk about bands. Like me and him one night had a conversation about Merciful Fate. And it was amazing because he really liked Merciful Fate, and I did too. I still do. But we got to talk about them and kind of compare notes on what we thought.
Yeah.
He had a very vast musical knowledge, though. He didn't just like that stuff. He liked Thin Lizzy. He liked ZZ Top. He liked Blue Oyster Cult. I remember vividly hanging out with him and him having patches on his pants, which I thought was interesting because back then not a lot of people put patches on their pants, but they were kind of by his knees because the knees were ripped up. So I think he used the patches to kind of repair the jeans.
Yeah.
But I remember he had a Blue Oyster Cult patch on his knee of his jeans, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
Very cool. Fuck yeah. How about horror movies? You dig horror movies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as up on it as I used to be. I think the last thing I saw was a movie called Thanksgiving. I don't know if you saw that, but it's pretty awesome, actually.
Was it good?
It wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. Let's put it this way: it's not like groundbreaking and like.
I'm not looking for that. I just want some good gore. And I mean, I'm a big fan of that movie that came out. It's probably right off the bat, but the one about the Santa Claus. What is it? Silent Night or something?
That was great. That was great.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Santa Claus kicking ass.
I love that, and that dude who played Santa Claus rules. Yeah, that movie was
awesome.
But if you like that, you gotta check out Thanksgiving, dude. I'm telling you. Like, if you want gore, there's some awesome kill scenes in there.
Well, let me ask you this: if you were to come out in the next slasher movie, what slasher would you like to get killed by?
Well, he wasn't a slasher, but it's great that you brought up that Santa Claus movie. I can't remember the title of it. I wish I could remember the title. But that guy was awesome at killing with that hatchet. And
oh, he was, dude.
He was great. But I'm telling you, man, Thanksgiving, it's also because if you like remember the 80s and early 90s slasher, that's what's great about Thanksgiving. And there's some, I don't want to give away too much, but there's a scene where he actually cooks a human like they're a turkey.
Oh shit.
In the oven. So it's from the person's point of view while they're in the oven cooking.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right. That's got me very curious. Guys, everybody out there, you better check out some Thanksgiving action. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we wrap things up, Katon, I want to ask you a few questions. Well, really, they're not questions, but it's a segment I call Draw the Line.
Okay.
We're going to compare either some band members or maybe some bands, and you're going to tell me which ones you prefer out of the two, and I'm going to try and make it hard on you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that. All right. But
Great.
it's nothing personal against any of these bands because I know you shared the stage with them all.
And
So it's nothing personal. But let's see where we get started with.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be straight up real about it and honest because that's what
Great.
metal's supposed to be. No bullshit. All right.
Excellent. Perfect. All right. First two, Violence. We're going to talk about Rob Flynn's bands right here. Violence versus Machine Head.
Well, I'm old school, so I'll go with Violence. But don't get me wrong. I thought that when I first heard the first Machine Head record, I was impressed. And it also had the drummer from Attitude Adjustment on it. A lot of people don't know that that's Chris.
Cantos.
Who's now with Forbidden. But
Forbidden.
Chris was how I know Chris is from when he was in Attitude Adjustment. And so the first Machine Head record, Davidian's a great track. You got to give credit where credit's due. And Rob is a badass. I've known Rob since the 80s. And, we haven't always seen eye to eye because we're both, whenever you're alpha males, that's just the way it is. But I have total mad respect for him. And you got to give him credit, man. He's kept Machine Head going himself. He really has kept that going. But I would go with Violence because, for me, those records are just classic, and they're a pretty original band. I mean, nobody sings like Sean. We just did some shows with them down in Central America. He's a great guy, so I have nothing bad to say at all. I'd love Phil DeMol was great too. He's another guy that needs to be mentioned too. But yeah, strong. One of my more favorite bands from the Bay Area would be Violence.
Very, very cool, man. And I love Phil. Phil's such a badass. To have him jamming with Kerry King now, I love it because it means I get more Phil.
There you go.
I was able to catch Phil on the last run that he did with Machine Head, doing like the whole night of Machine Head thing.
Yeah.
And man, it was such a thrill just to see him throw down. You could see it was like it was his last run. And he was just enjoying every last show with the band.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna answer these questions honestly, all right?
Thank you. Hell yeah. Okay, next pair. Ozzy Osbourne versus Ronnie James Dio.
That's such a hard question. It's just like,
I got you on this one.
It's like it's like the Beatles and the Stones. It really is.
Ooh, yes.
I think they're totally different. I mean, I get it if people want to pit them against each other. I'll say this: technically, Dio's the man. Bottom line, if you're a vocalist and you don't know that, there's something wrong with you. Stylistically, Ozzy's got his own goddamn thing, man. Like it's like Bon Scott. There's certain people that you just can't take that shit away from. Like if I could get down on some Ozzy tunes all day long. And even his solo career, those first two albums, Diary of a Madman and Blizzard of Oz, those records are unbeatable. So, you got to give Ozzy his due, even though technically he's not even on the same planet as Dio. Dio's a freak of nature. That's not normal. So, but I think there's a divide there because in the same right, Ozzy's great in his own way, man. Like he's got you obviously immediately it's Ozzy singing when he sings. As soon as he opens his mouth, it's him, and he's got his own thing. I don't think there is really another Ozzy. There's no other person than Ozzy that is Ozzy. So he's incredible, but Dio's just a freak of nature. Nobody can sing like him either. So Sabbath was smart. They got a lot. Even when you think about the Tony Martins and the Ian Gillans, Sabbath has pretty much always somehow figured out a way to get some great talent in there on vocals. But the two best would be Ozzy and would be Dio for sure.
Fuck yes. And in respect to Ian Gillan, love us to Ian Gillan, Deep Purple, and all that love right there.
Yeah, I'm going to be respectful, but I'm also going to be honest because we don't want to be delusional either.
Right. Hell yeah. All right. Next pair, Creator versus Destruction.
Great question. That's kind of a fucking hard one for me because I know both bands. So if they see this, they're going to be like, I shouldn't even answer it. But for me, it's going to be Creator. Don't get me wrong. I actually, dude, this is what's crazy. I started the first fan club for Destruction.
Oh, badass.
Yeah, I'm very aware of their greatness too, especially the first EP and the first album.
Sentence to Death.
Yeah, those are freaking classics. But I would say consistently watching Creator over the years, holy shit. And Millie is just a songwriting machine. He's a riff master. And they've pretty much been able to keep putting out pretty solid records. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that are on the fence talking smack, this record, that record. But I would say, catalog wise, Creator wins.
I hear you, man. And big shout out to Millie Petraza, one of the best vocalists in thrash metal.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. He's another.
It's no disrespect because, I mean, I love Destruction too, but you got to look at it this way. All those bands are fortunate. They're badass. They come from the big four, which is basically, if you ask me, it goes Destruction, Sodom, Creator, and even who slips in there, believe it or not, the band Tankard.
Tankard, yes. Tankard, fucking hard love there.
They don't get mentioned at all like they should, but they really should be in that big four, Teutonic,
yes.
Big four.
Fuck yeah, agreed. Hell yeah. All right, how about these guys? Sepultura versus Soulfly.
I got to go with Sepultura, but I have to admit they have changed over the years. So it kind of sucks because then people will go, well, what about new Sepultura? And it's tough for me also because back to it, I know both bands, I know both camps. A guy from Texas, Mike DeLeon, joined Soulfly, who's a great guy, and I played with him. But, you know, to me, nothing beats Arise and Beneath the Remains and Morbid Visions and all that stuff. I mean, those records are blueprints. Even those guys know it. Even the split camps, because that's kind of what I consider Sepultura and Soulfly. Those are split camps. I'm sure it's not been easy for the fans. It's like watching your favorite baseball team split up or favorite whatever split up. But Sepultura is just an entity into itself. What an amazing band. I mean, even the later, more modern records were pretty good. I mean, Chaos AD, you know, so it's kind of, I feel like my family got split up, and I hate to be, I'm like the child that doesn't want to choose sides, but also in their defense, Max has done well with the Soulfly stuff, so much respect to him, and he's an amazing dude. Like, I'm not saying any of this to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just being honest. But Max is an amazing dude. But also Andre Kessler is an amazing guy. Like, I mean, he's been supportive. Oh, yeah. He's still supportive of HIRAX. Andre's one of the first guys to play us on the radio, the new songs that aren't even out yet. I sent him some advances of it, and he played it on Brazilian radio. So that you know, you kind of got me in a pinch here commenting on both camps, but I just have to be honest. And I think in the long run, both those bands would respect what I'm saying. I'm just being honest.
I definitely know where you're coming from, and I think you're absolutely right. They would respect where you're saying, because fucking Arise, Beneath the Remains. I mean, that set the bar up. It just kept raising the bar on what you guys and Exodus and Slayer were already building up.
Yeah, and I have total respect for that. You know, I mean, I'm not, like I said, not trying to be mean or bumming anybody out. I'm just being, it's my perspective. Everybody has a right to their own.
Yeah, and this is just for fun. We love all these bands.
Yeah, we love them all. And I wish them continued success. Like, I'm actually sad, even though I wasn't really up on all the newer Sepultura stuff. I'm actually sad that they're leaving, because it's like, you know, they're a part of helping this movement continue on. So I wish them nothing but the best.
Big time, worldwide, international, keeping the movement huge and alive.
Yeah.
Okay, how about these guys right here? Anthrax versus Overkill.
I'll go with Overkill. Even though Anthrax obviously has done great. They've done great. But what I love about Overkill is the tenacity and just keep going. Like, not letting shit kill them, man. They just, Dee Dee and
Bobby.
They just fighting, man. They haven't given up, man. I love that. They've been inspiring even to me, just to see that they will not stop. It's like somebody is hitting them with a baseball bat, and they just keep getting back up, and they keep putting out strong records. So, I mean, I know that Anthrax is a great band. I'm not going to say they're not. They are, and they've done a lot of great stuff. They've had some really great songs. You know, Among the Living was pretty amazing record. I mean, you got to give that record credit.
Yeah.
So, and even the first album, man, that's like a blueprint for thrash metal. You know.
Fuck yeah, Fistful of Metal.
Dude, Metal Thrashing Mad should be right there. You know, that's one of those tunes that you can't deny. But I'll still go with Overkill, just because I was hip to them from the beginning. Like, their demos, I have the demos, Rotten to the Core, all that stuff I love. You know?
Fuck yeah. They always made it so much fun. And one of my favorite all-time classics is from them, Elimination.
Yeah,
It's like one of the top 10 fucking best
great stuff.
banging thrash metal songs.
Yeah,
They're in there, man.
they,
Fuck yeah, I love it.
they deserve credit, man.
Absolutely. All right, looks like I got one more for you.
All right, let's do it.
Your homeboys, we love them. We can never do without them. And rest in peace, Paul Bailoff. But Exodus versus Testament.
Oh man, they're both camps or friends of mine. They're both great, but I'm gonna go with Exodus, and I'll tell you why. Exodus were killing it from the beginning. They inspired a lot of us. They even made us up our game. Like I would be lying to say that we didn't hear some of the demos, and we heard some live tapes too, because we're not too far from San Francisco, so we got a hold of some live tapes, and we were like, wow, we need to up our game because what they're doing is just fucking off the chain. Testament is great. Alex Skolnick's an amazing guitar player. I'd be lying if I didn't point that out. You got to admit that Alex is just phenomenal.
Yes.
Chuck's an amazing dude too, and he's got a style. Like one thing I love about Chuck has got that deep guttural sound, and it's just he owns that, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But Exodus, especially, like I love Zetro too, but especially the Bailoff stuff. That Bonded by Blood is in the top 5 greatest thrash metal records of all time, period. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it.
I love it, man. But you brought up the top 5 thrash metal. I want to know your 5. Can you give me 5?
Well, I gotta say Kill 'Em All, because that would be stupid not to. Like,
Has
no
to
matter,
be.
They're gonna get so much shit because they're so great for the rest of their lives. I feel bad for the guys, but Kill 'Em All, if not that, it would be Bonded by Blood. But Bonded by Blood, I'll put right next to that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna throw Killing Is My Business in there from Megadeth.
Killer, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a creative record, very original. He wasn't trying to do what everybody else was doing, so I'm gonna throw that in there.
Love it.
And because it was another record that helped pave the way, I gotta bring up the first Anthrax record.
All right, yes.
And there's a piece of me that but they get in there, man. You gotta give them credit. Like this is a great interview. You're getting shit out of me nobody's ever got out of me before, but I will. The first
Great, hell yeah! I love the fact that you had Anthrax on the Anthrax Overkill on the east side. You had Megadeth, the Metallica Exodus on the west side. They don't know each other, but they're all coming up listening to the same bands. The new wave of British heavy metal, and they're all interpreting it their own way. And the next thing you know, Metallica goes to record over there. Anthrax hears them, and they're like, "What the fuck? Holy shit!" And it's like you said, you start upping your game.
Yeah.
But the incredible part is that this shit's already going on. Everybody's taking their own piece, and then that's when your band picks up. It's like, you know what? Now it's time for us to take our piece of the cake too.
Yeah, and
we're gonna do this.
That's totally what happened. I mean, we all pretty much inspired each other because like one band would hear the other band go, "Oh, we got to do this." And then we had this. So like it was a good thing because it made everybody up their game. Really.
Fuck yes.
And I'll go for the 5th.
Uh-huh.
That's a tough one because there's so much stuff out there, and but I mean, and also I don't want to toot too much of my horn down here in LA because we had a lot of good bands. I mean, Dark Angel should be mentioned. Obviously, we were around. There was another band called Age of Steel, but I'm gonna go to the East Coast and I'm gonna give it to Overkill. Their first album, I love that record.
Oh, Feel the Fire.
Yeah, Feel the Fire is amazing. So those are I mean, it could change here and there any day, but that's where I'm at right now at this moment in my life. I mean, if you ask me tomorrow, it might be a little bit different. But those are the records that I'll throw up there for now.
I love it, Katon, and they're all classics. And you're a part of the whole classic lineup as well. You know what I mean? You're a part of the whole pioneering of this whole scene that guys like us in Texas were finally able to filter down eventually through cassette trading and underground magazines. We're finally like, fuck yeah, we're finally getting the exposure. Finally, Megadeth, Megaforce Records comes out, Metal Blade. They start putting it out there for the masses to start getting their hands on. And we just have a lot to be grateful for. And I think that me and you have been able to be so blessed to be able to enjoy the period of music that we've been able to experience. And, like you said, starting off with the with the classics, man, with the my side, Buddy Holly, on your side, early country, early rock and roll, and it just it's a drug where it's like a gateway drug. You know,
Totally.
okay, you start with the some Buddy Holly. Next thing you know, it's Judas Priest, and on your side, you're going from
Chuck Berry.
I'm gonna some love from Sam Cooke. I know you love Sam.
Totally. Even Otis Redding. I love, like you when you're growing up, you're gonna hear stuff your parents are playing. You're gonna hear the radio, but that's also what gets you start going, and then your inner personality kicks in when you hear some heavy stuff, and you're like, I gotta check more of this shit out, Because my biggest thing I always tell everybody, nobody, unless nowadays, because it's a different generation, but in our generation, you didn't start out completely heavy. You started out with either radio rock or your parents had some 45 singles that you might have been playing with and putting on turntables and listening to. But we got heavy, and because of us, it got heavier.
That's fucking right. Yes. All right. Hey, before we wrap things up, Katon, I want to give a shout out to HIRAX.BigCartel.com. Get your vinyls, get your patches. I need at least 2 or 3 of those HIRAX patches right there that I saw, and I need to add them to my jacket. I've got it behind me.
Right.
Check out the vinyls. They've got the vinyl Raging Violence out there. Colored vinyl, just the way I like it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. And you can also get there also by going to bigcartel.bandcamp.com as well.
Yeah, Bandcamp as well, for sure.
And you can even find the Phantasm 6-song cassette on there too. Yeah. And even the demo for Faster Than Death from last year.
Yeah, Japanese version only.
Shit.
We wanted to give back to the old scene, because back in the day, people would let demos get out, and I find that to be awesome. So that's why we did it, and it helped out a lot. It got us prepared to record the record, because a lot of the rehearsals that we were doing were to get ready for the recording studio, so that we didn't go in and waste money, because you have to be prepared when you get in there, because once that clock starts ticking, on. But so people can go to Big Cartel or Bandcamp HIRAX and check out our merch. And I appreciate the support, Tony. Thanks for having me on the show.
Katon, one last thing. I want people to pre-order the new 7-inch EP, Faster Than Death. The vinyl's going to be out. You can get it on www.doomentia.com, or you can go to Doomentia Records, and let me spell that, DOOMENTIA Records.bandcamp.com. Order your pre-order of that 7-inch, just like I am, all right? And get yourself on the HIRAX Big Cartel, and get yourself those HIRAX patches that I know all my friends want to get. They're out there. Get those old school vinyls that I know you need for your collection too. I need them. You need them. Friends, this has been this is off of my bucket list. I knew you were going to be a great person to talk to, because I've seen your interviews. I've seen you on the movies, and you're part of history, but you're such a great ambassador and just a great human being. I see it in the way you interact with your fans. And just, I can't give you enough love, Katon.
I appreciate that. More than you know, and that's the stuff that fuels my black ass. Trust me. So I'm gonna get ready. Even after this interview, I'm gonna be driving into Hollywood to go to band practice, and I'll be thinking, I'll let the guys know you said hello, and I appreciate the support, and I'll keep you posted on when the new album's coming. It's gonna be soon. Yes.
Hey, real quick, do you have Emilio from Possessed playing drums with you?
Damn, you did your homework, man.
Hey,
he's been with us a little while, but it's still words getting out there. And yes, and I'm really happy to have him with us, because the guy, I think he's underrated. And I think when we do the next record, people are going to really be blown away. I mean, the guy, when we got him, we noticed the change in what the band could be. He's got a lot of skills. Like, he's not just a thrash metal or death metal drummer. This guy can play, and he's got a heavy groove at the same time without being too groovy. You know what I mean? Like, he can play the metal shit and maintain a certain level of where you need that to make your band go to the next level. So Emilio Marquez is in the band. We're happy to have him, and we're just getting ready with him right now. That's one of the reasons I'm heading up to Hollywood to jam with him. and I'll tell him you said what's up.
Please tell him Tony from Boozers in Corpus Christi said what's up. I saw him here with Asensino.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
with Tony and Dino, and they're super cool. We hung out and chilled and stuff, and super guys, man, super guys. So I'm excited to know that he's a part of the HIRAX family now.
He's the right guy too. I mean, this
Yeah.
is crazy. We had talked many years ago about doing something, but it just never really happened. Like he's been in a sadistic intent, possessed, and also assassino. So finally, I just think the timing was right, and he's definitely in the right camp, and he's appreciated. And we're gonna keep rolling down the road, pounding some metal.
Brother, have a great time overseas in August. It's gonna come before you know it.
Yeah.
These hot summer months are gonna fly by. Is there going to be any shows in between here and then up there in Cali that people can go see y'all?
We haven't really announced anything yet. I mean, the only thing when we get back from the August tours, we're doing San Francisco with obviously Sodom from Germany. And there's a bunch of great bands on that bill. I believe Evil Dead's on there, Sacrifice from Canada. And then we go to New York and we do the date down there with Sodom again. But I'm sure there'll be something that comes up. I mean, Los Angeles is our home turf. We love playing here, but normally when we play here, we always try to do it right because it's hometown, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do something special pretty soon.
Fuck yes. Katon, I'm going to let you get to practice. I know it's going to be a killer one tonight.
Yeah.
Tell the guys, much respect. Keep the fucking grind going on. Everybody for Tony Gomez Show, if you're tuning in, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions. I know I had a lot on my plate too, and I want to make sure I got it to them. But to everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. Pick up your new pre-order to HIRAX and give them a like at their Facebook. Check them out on Instagram and make sure you're subscribing to the HIRAX YouTube channel. Give them plenty of love. If you want to talk to Katon, hit him up on Facebook. All right? Easy as that. He's there for you. Katon, I appreciate you. Let's keep in touch. And much love to you and the guys. Have a great tour and best of success to you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Much love and respect to you. We'll see you soon, okay?
You got it, man. Talk to you later.
All right, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was a fantastic interview. Wow, man. Katon is the man. I knew it was going to go great. I love him, man. He's just one of these guys that I could tell just by seeing him in other podcasts. That I did my research. I seen him on other podcasts and seen him on TV and seen him in movies like Get Thrashed. And he's just a metal historian. And there's nothing more I like than metal history. And so that's one off my bucket list. Katon, thank you so much. The honor is all mine. I can't wait till I can meet you in person. Hopefully you're doing something in Corpus, but if not, maybe San Antonio or Houston. My band Annihilator would love to open for you. Jeff De Leon, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in tonight, bro. Roel Valdez. And let's see, Linda Sunshine Baylor. Hey, thanks for seeing you. And Debbie, thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate you tuning into the Tony Gomez Show. Tune in next week. I'm going to be having Wrapped Upon the Skies. Josh Burnell will be in the house. And also, Josh is also drummer for Throat Locust. Fuck yeah, Throat Locust. Much love to them. Also, bass player for Earth Realm. And I think he also plays for At My Signal. He used to play with me at Headbangers Pit and Killamora. One of my best brothers. I love this guy. Josh Burnell is going to be in the studio. Next week, we're going to set it up. And like I mentioned during the interview, I got Mike De Leon from Soulfly coming back on the show. He's got a big show going on in the Bay Area on the 15th of this month. It's an all-star lineup that he's got to do a lot of rehearsing for, but I know Mike. Mike just hears something, he can pick it up in a heartbeat. And I really can't wait to have him back on the show. It'll be the third time having Mike on here. And also, Mike's band Flesh Hoarder opened up for fucking Pantera on the fucking Pantera Reunion Tribute Legacy Tour. They're going to be here in town at the Black Monk Tavern on September 12th. But one last plug, I'm going to be at the Black Monk Tavern this Saturday with my band Fistful of Metal. Go check it out. It's the 9th anniversary of the Black Monk Tavern. Thank you, Zane Campbell, for 9 great fucking years of supporting local music. Thank you so much, Zane Campbell, and all the staff you had there. Thank you, guys. And thank you to Brian for taking care of great sound. Brian over at Gulfway Barbershop. You need your haircut? Go see what's up at Gulfway Barbershop. Anyway, if you want to, if anybody wants to sponsor the show, check it out. Send me an email. Thanks a lot for tuning into the show tonight, Jeff, and all my bros. Love you guys. We'll see you soon at the next show.